For gamers short on time and even shorter on patience, this is the Busy Gamer Review. This was actually my first Doom game, and I had an absolute blast. It's fast, it's chaotic, it's brutal, and it fits perfectly into a busy schedule. So, that being said, let's get into the review. So, how long does it take to actually get Doom: The Dark Ages? And honestly, not long at all. After a short cutscene, you're dropped straight into the action. The game gives you quick pop-ups explaining certain gameplay mechanics, and before you know it, you're knee-deep in demon guts. The game systems are really straightforward. You simply upgrade your weapons and shield using different in-game currencies that you get while playing. And honestly, what surprised me the most is that there's no reloading and no aiming down sights in this game. As someone who constantly reloads out of habit in other first-person shooters, this was a refreshing change. It keeps the pace really fast and the flow non-stop. So overall, it took me about 30 to 45 minutes to get a real solid grasp of the gameplay. Now, what's the rhythm of play here? Doom: The Dark Ages is split into 22 missions. Each mission has a semi-open level design that includes things such as hordes of demons, secrets to uncover, and just a ton of opportunities to unleash pure chaos. The gameplay loop is pretty simple. You essentially slay hordes of demons like an absolute beast, do a little platforming or a little puzzle solving to get that gem or gold that you want that's locked behind like a gate or something, and then slay even more demons. You will also hit checkpoints where you can upgrade weapons and shields, and occasionally the missions shake things up a bit, like by piloting a massive demon punching mech, or things like riding a dragon. The mech missions are an awesome power trip and are a nice break from the shooting, even if it's a little simple. The dragon segments are honestly kind of meh, but they're pretty short and they don't overstay their welcome. The gunplay though is phenomenal. You move so fast, every weapon feels creative and distinct, and the parry system with your shield is incredibly satisfying. There were moments in this game where my heart was pounding from the sheer chaos, like I could feel it beating through my chest. And honestly, it's rare for non-competitive games to give me that type of feeling. Now, let's talk about how long you need to play in one sitting to actually feel satisfied. This is where this game shines for busy gamers. You can jump in for 30 to 60 minutes, clear a full level, and walk away completely satisfied with your experience. That's just enough time to rip through waves of demons, upgrade your gear, and feel like you made solid progress, while also being able to experience the core gameplay loop. So, just how much progress do you actually make per session? With a 30 to 60 minute play session, you end up making quite a bit of progress. In that play session, the game rewards you with things such as new weapons and permanent stat boosts to either your health, your armor capacity, or your ammo capacity, and multiple different types of upgrade currency such as gold, rubies, and wraith stones. For the currencies, you can kind of think of it like gold is for like the tier 1 upgrades, and rubies is for like tier 2 upgrades, and wraith stones are for like the highest tier upgrades you can get for your weapons or shields. And thankfully, these currencies are pretty easy to find thanks to the minimap. I mean, the minimap literally shows you where all the secrets and money and currencies and gems are. So you just have to kind of go to the place on the mini map to find them, and they're often hidden behind like a gate or something where you have to solve like a light puzzle in order to get. Now, I'm not a puzzle guy at all. I get impatient really fast, but I found most of these puzzles were pretty quick, clever, and most importantly, they're mostly optional. I also don't find them to slow down the game much. I feel like there's just enough of them to break up the combat without really slowing it down. The mini bosses in this game also drop something called demonic essence, which give you permanent buffs like more health, ammo, or armor capacity. And while you progress with your main missions, you also unlock something called ruins for your shield that grant special abilities when you parry like a special type of projectile. Every single play session in this game feels rewarding. You always leave stronger than like when you started, or you always leave with a new weapon in mind or something new and cool to try out for your next session. Now it's time for the bloat check. How much of this game feels like busy work? And honestly, almost none of it. There are optional collectibles like codex entries and toy figures that I personally didn't really care about, but thankfully they're clearly marked on your minimap, so you can grab them if you want, or you can just completely ignore them like I did. If anything, the cutscenes are the slowest part. The story didn't really grab me, but they're short and you can just skip them if you want to jump back into the action. So overall, Doom the Dark Ages is lean, focused, and filler free. So how easy is it to drop this game and come back to it later? In my opinion, it's very easy. If you end up dropping the game for a week or more and come back to it, you can get right back in the rhythm of things after a quick little warm up. The controls are intuitive and relatively simple in my opinion, and the story is not really something that you're gonna, want to follow that closely. So even if you drop it for a while and come back to it, it's not like you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, like what am I doing? You're basically just doing the same thing, which is slaying a bunch of demons. The replay value is also really good. There are tons of weapons and synergies to experiment with and multiple different difficulty options. And they also have a cool game mode called the Repertorium. The Repertorium is essentially like an arena where waves of enemies come in, and you can customize the entire experience. You can customize what type of enemies you want, how many you want of them, and it's a lot of fun. Honestly, it's the kind of game that begs for another run just to test out new builds and test out new difficulties, because I found myself having a lot of fun just replaying certain levels on a higher difficulty level. In conclusion, Doom the Dark Ages is everything you'd want from an action game. It's fast, chaotic, and ridiculously satisfying. And most importantly, it fits very well into short play sessions. Every time I loaded up the game, I'd have a blast playing it and really can't recommend it enough. The only thing I'll say is that if you need a really strong story in order to be engaged with the game, then maybe this is not a good fit for you. But other than that, I found it extremely fun. So my verdict is Doom the Dark Ages is a great game and a perfect fit for busy gamers.